From fabulous Los Angeles, California, Hollywood, home of the stars, the magic factory where dreams come true, culture capital of the world, jewel of the Pacific, it's the Adam Carolla Show.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Mandate. Get it on. And welcome, Alison Rosen.
Hello, Adam Carolla.
Welcome, Bald Bryan. The listeners are fucking dumb. Oh, yeah. Robert Davi, who you know well from about 150 movies. Most memorable Showgirls for me. Greatest scene ever written. He's coming in here. And David Wild, you know, from Show Dudes. He's coming in as well. Oh, yeah.
I've never seen that. What's it like?
Well, there was you know, the Thunder from Down Under.
Sure.
Yeah.
Experience it sometimes monthly.
Mm-hmm. He was part of that group for a while, and we'll have him out here in a second, or a couple of few, and we'll talk. All right. Let's see. Quick bit of business. Tonight, Amalfi will be there with comedian John Reep, and also me and Dennis Prager at CSUN, my mom's alma mater. My mom went to North Hollywood. No. She went to Valley College for about 17 or 18 years. She turned junior college into, I mean, basically a generation, and then finished up at CSUN.
Does she have multiple degrees?
Pretty sure single degree. She's no show off. Walked with the how you doing there? You doing all right?
I'm hanging on.
Had a nice moment with Brian yesterday. Brian was nice enough to, I saw him come back and spray down the handle of the studio with Lysol and wipe it off. And I said, Jesus, Brian. And he said, well, listen, I'm sick. I don't want to get people sick. And then 14 seconds later, I said, is that your water or is that my water? And he said, no, that's my water. And I said, oh, I just took a hit off that. So I guess that nullifies the Lysol or makes it even.
For you particularly, it nullifies it completely.
Did
For
you put
everyone
a
else,
spritz in the water?
Yeah, you didn't taste that?
Luckily, I never get sick. So
I took every realistic precaution to get everyone else
But
unsick.
you couldn't keep people away from the water.
No.
I literally took a drag off his water, set it down, thought it was mine. Then he said, no, that's yours. And it was seconds after he Lysoled off the handle. Chicano studies is what my mom. And that's when the cash started rolling in.
Right.
When she
now,
when
was
she
it
got
because
out
of the passion or because she wanted to do well in business?
Picture a montage. Picture from an 80s movie where she comes down there with that sheepskin. She's got that diploma for Chicano studies underhand. She's doing the fist pump. And now the montage. Out shopping.
Yeah.
You know, I think they did it night shift. Many other movies. Out shopping for jewelry.
Oh, right.
Me out looking at colleges. My dad trying on fur coats and like pinky rings. Me
Shaking your head at the first one because it's too modest.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And, scenes where, like, you know, we're looking at Bentleys and Rolls Royces and
waving at the other person driving a Bentley as you're going down the street.
doing a funny Grey Poupon skit. Kind of
love
Mike
that.
Myers-esque. Yeah.
Tells me.
That's what happened after the Chicano Studies major. No, she's got a little something called pride. She hung on to that degree, and, you know, she may bust it out at any moment now. We don't know.
Right.
You know.
The best is yet to come for her.
That's right. That's right. The money's just going to come rolling in. All right. We had a mayoral election today, which would be yesterday if you guys are hearing this now. And I don't know who's in charge just yet. Looks like it's going to be a runoff between Goodwin and Garcetti. I'm assuming Mike Lynch. That's what it is. Yeah. All right. So it's a runoff between a couple of people who've been in the city council for a long period of time. I never understand. I understand stay the course when the course seems to be pretty good, but 8 years of running the city into almost bankruptcy doesn't seem like a great stay the course, but we've decided here in Los Angeles at least to stay the course. I'm happy that Villaraigosa is out of here finally. And I'm scared that he's going to run for governor, and then, you know, he's ruined the city. Now he's got a sight set on ruining the state. But so we have a couple of folks that were just part of the crew And again, I'll play you a little clip from KCT. KCT, not Fox, not some right-wing think tank. This is KCT. They're a pretty liberal group over there. They did a little scratching around, and it's how everything works in a nutshell around here. Unions, unions, and more unions. We hit it before. I'll give you a small version of it. And this is who we have left to decide who's going to run the city.
It is known as the Deferred Retirement Option Plan, or DROP. As we first reported 2 years ago, DROP allows LAPD and LA City Fire personnel who have been on the force for at least 25 years and are 50 years old to collect both a salary and their pension at the same time for the last 5 years on the job. Here's how it works. Officer Jones retires January 30th, 2013. The very next day, he comes back to work. Now Jones continues to be paid his salary, but his pension goes into an account where it collects 5% interest. Jones and the city still contribute towards his pension. When Jones leaves his job, he gets those accumulated pension checks plus 5% interest.
Okay, so that's the plan, and people are walking away with million-dollar checks. Who's paying for those checks? We're paying for those checks. Sidewalks falling apart, garbage everywhere, unusable school systems. We pay for everything. And the answer always is, if you guys would just step it up in the tax department a little, we could take care of those sidewalks. And my question is, that's true, but he could walk away with $250,000 instead of $1 million, and we could fix the sidewalks. And I'd prefer to do it that way since I'm paying close to 50% as is. But it's been around for 10 years, this DROP program. It's ironically been dropped from other major cities because other major cities aren't mobbed up with unions, and they realize, well, we're losing a ton of money. They decided to do a study to see if it worked out. We're going to find out how the study worked to see if they say it's cost neutral. It doesn't cost the taxpayers any money, but it sounds like it's costing us some money. So let's see how the study worked out.
So, Miguel, when we talked to you last 2 years ago, we were talking to you about the DROP program. We wondered if it was cost neutral to the city budget overall. And your answer then was, we don't really know, but we're going to work on it. So we're back here to ask you, what's the answer?
And we're still looking at it.
The CAO was asked to look at DROP as part of the city's 2012 budget.
Yeah.
Santana told us a study is about to begin.
They're going to start one now.
It's required by the charter that we actually have a review every 5 years. We don't conduct the review, the pension systems, hire the pension actuary to do an analysis on the cost neutrality of it, and that they're in the process of doing that now.
That long-awaited study on whether the DROP program is cost neutral will be carried out by an actuary hired by the pension board, not by the city administrative officer. A clear conflict of interest.
All right, so I'm Marlboro. I need some doctors to study.
Where are you going to find them?
Well,
There's probably appoint them.
I got
a lot
some
of independent,
money.
neutral doctors out
No,
there.
I'm going to find. I want them to say tobacco's not addicting, so I'll get my own doctors. I'll find my own doctors.
How will you pay them?
I'll pay them in Marlboro miles.
Smart.
They're going to have kayaks and down vests.
Duffel bags. Whenever I hear shit like this, it reminds me of that scene in How the Grinch Stole Christmas where he's explaining to, I think it's Cindy Who? Or Lou.
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou, whatever. Why he's taking the tree. Because one of the bulbs
She was awesome in Charlie's Angels as well, too.
Yeah.
By the way, go ahead.
Because there was a light out or whatever, and it's just like that you are bullshitting someone. Like that's what I think of when like that thing about him explaining why they don't have the numbers yet and blah blah blah.
Sure.
Like, please.
Well, here's the answer. If you want the numbers, you get the numbers.
Yeah.
If you don't want the numbers, you don't get the numbers.
And you have some long-winded, complete, obviously bullshitted answer about what happened.
This is the firemen's unions. This is the police unions. These are the people you have to get behind you. All right. So
on a related note, I'd like to get a DROP program in here. That'd be great. I know I can hire an actuary to tell you that it's all above the board and we can make some money.
And how important your drops are.
Exactly.
Literally.
Hence the name.
I mean, in other places, they did get rid of their drop program.
So they had to drop the drop. So now this city has a choice between two mayors. We'll have a runoff. Let's see where they come down on this drop program that is fleecing the taxpayers. First, Wendy Gruhl.
I've supported DROP. It is an effective way to keep some of our best officers and firefighters in the city of Los Angeles.
You don't see DROP as a double dip?
I don't see drop as a double dip.
They're earning money at the same time they're collecting their pension.
Yeah. Well, it's been, again, a program that has been effective to keep our officers here, to keep them working in the city of
I wouldn't
Los
go anywhere
Angeles.
either. All right.
I didn't see that coming, but
Well, don't worry. She's got some stiff competition.
drop the hammer, Garcetti.
Look out. Here it comes. The hammer of truth.
Mayoral candidate Eric Garcetti also likes drop.
In study after study, it showed that that is a money saver. Plus, it gets the most valuable people to stay on the job for a few more years.
In fact, as we've learned, there is no study showing drop as a money saver because
Well,
nobody has bothered to study
To
it.
be fair, he didn't say in one study. He
How
said
are they
in
the most
study after
valuable
study.
people?
That's it. It's this Clash of the Titans, everybody. But don't worry, we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this ship righted immediately with these two.
How about this logic, which no one's brought up? Who, after working at a job for 25 years, they're in their 50s probably, they have kids, maybe grandkids, who after 25 years says, I'm leaving for a better job? You're not committed. You're going to have a pension. You're not
Yes.
going to leave.
No.
You don't need to get your people to stay. They're there for 25 years.
Well, this was after the whole Rampart scandal. By the way, this is the scandal in the Rampart division that they brought on themselves, but they were having trouble with officers because it was bad back then. Now it's not bad, but since they roll it over, they can't undo it, and they have to go to the unions. This whole cop and fireman thing, everyone's a hero, everyone's a hero. Whenever they talk about any taxes that has to do with, it's never about the pension funds. It's always about, hey, when you call 911, you want someone on the other line, don't you? Who's going to come out to your house? Who's a hero? All right, so those are two choices, and I'm going with Garcetti.
Do you think James has no shot? Because I just heard him talking now about how he feels like on the radio, feeling strong.
That's his job, and God, by the way, he's the only one who's not for the fun. It's kind of interesting. Kevin James is gay, but it never gets brought up. It's weird because it's weird. Like, you know, if you're black and you're Republican, you're really not black. Mm-hmm. If you're gay and you're Republican, you're really not gay. It's a weird thing. Like, he's really not gay.
Wait, who do you think is not bringing it up?
It never comes up. It's like a non thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a bunch of gay support for him. I don't believe there is. It's a weird thing. It's sort of weird. Like, you know, all the black Republicans are really not black according to most of society. You know, like everyone goes, you bring up, you know, Clarence Thomas. They're like, oh well, come on, he's not black. You know what I mean? He's not us. He's not. We don't consider the guys on the right.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's this like, you're black, why are you on the right? You're gay, why are you on the right? That's a sentiment that people have.
Yeah, and it's not only why are you? It's you're not. You've now pulled yourself. You're not even gay anymore or black anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's weird how we look at things. It is true. It's why are you? But it's also you're no longer in whatever the gay club or the black club is, which always play the best music.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so
The gay black clubs are the
I don't
best.
think Kevin James is. I don't think he's floating, and I think these are our choices. And look, the good news is, I will go for Garcetti over Gruel, and secondly.
Sounds like a menu selection. Worst
I'll have the
menu selection.
Garcetti. That's two cold soups. I'll have the Garcetti. Or you would like the Gruel? No, I'll go with the Garcetti. And Tony Villar's gone. Now let's pray. Let's pray he doesn't get on to ruining the state.
Why Garcetti over Gruel?
I'm a dude. I'm a white dude. He's white.
Well, hey, that makes sense.
He has junk. So you know how you got to do.
She might have junk in her trunk.
You got to vote for who's closest to you.
All right, I'll vote for her then.
That's
You
what
rail
we've
against
broken
people
down
voting
to.
for their team all the time. You rail against the black people for Obama just because.
No, I always say that all things being equal.
Okay.
I mean, I say white guy and a black guy are fighting. If the white guy is a favorite, I'll root for the black guy. Not that that's ever happened, but I'll still root for the black guy.
Some mystical scenario.
If the black guy's from my hometown or went to North Hollywood High, I'll root for him. Everything's equal, but if everything is the same, the records are exactly the same, they both come from the same town that I'm not from, and everything's exactly the same, you will usually root for the guy closest to you. That's it. And like I said, could just be hometown. You could get rid of the color of the person's skin by simply being from somewhere you grew up near or having some association with something that you know or like.
So you really are for him just because he's a dude?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Well, seeing how they're both the same person.
I know it sounded like that was a judgment. It actually wasn't. It was more just a question.
Well, I got to be for somebody. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else? You got something there. I got something here. Let's talk about some things. I had a bunch of notes up here that got dipped in coffee earlier today. I was making fun of Dr. Drew for knocking over his coffee mug, and I knocked over my coffee mug for the first time in a gazillion years.
In the same show?
They were sitting up here, and somebody did something with them, and that somebody is in this building, and I would like that somebody to come forth and give me whatever notes I was writing on.
Who do you think it was?
The plot thickens.
It's not a crime. It was in the way of the cameras, and it looked like shit because it was dipped in coffee, but somebody did something with it, and I'll be needing it back. Oh, speaking of something. Oh, you guys are going to love this.
Speaking of something.
You're going to have to see a picture of this. Chris Maxipata back there with the picture of the light. I feel like I spend most of my adult life telling stupid people the same thing. And that's all I do. And people go, well, stop telling them. And I go, yeah, but they're working for me. And, yes, my big pile of things that I look at. Thank you for removing those from my site.
It looks like he got them laundered.
All right. So, now, Full-tard Gary. We have half-tard Gary here.
Yeah.
Full-tard Gary. And Full-tard Gary's an interesting guy, and I'll bring this up. He's missing a couple of fingers. You know him from the Home Improvement show.
Missing a couple chromosomes.
And he's an interesting dude in that everyone's like, well, Gary's a little nutty. Gary's a little nutty. Gary's a little nutty. Gary's a little nutty. And I'm like, yeah, I can dig it. But I walked into the shop today at 3:02, and I said, oh, where's Gary? I want to talk to Gary. And he's like, oh, he's gone. The point is Gary cuts out at 3, but he doesn't cut out at 3. He cuts out at 2:58 every single day. And he never cuts out at 3:03. He cuts out at 2:58. So Gary's nutty. But he's not that nutty.
Nutty like a fox in his favor.
He may be out of it, but not out of it when it comes to leaving. This is kind of my argument. Gary leaves at 2:57.5 every day. If you're completely out, if you're Jim Ignatowski, then I'm walking in here at 3:30 and I'm seeing Gary working and I'm going, hey, boss, you know what time it is? And he goes, oh, what? No. He's completely out of it with everything, but not. And I think he may have topped himself. Now, as we all know, he tried to take my big rolling A-frame ladder and push it through a door that was 4 feet too short for it some months back.
Yes.
Okay. I have a constant battle with Gary, which is turn the light on, meaning he's working in a room and he's doing something. He's putting down some bass shoe or some baseboard. He's doing something intricate. He's cleaning on something. He's working on a race car or something, but it's almost dark where he is. So I always come in and
what an ironic argument for you to be making.
No, this must drive you batty.
I know.
Half your life is turn the lights off.
I know.
Half is turn the lights on.
I know. It's incredible. I know, but I always walk in and I flip the light on. I go, Gary, get some light. You can't see what you're doing.
You only have 7 fingers left.
I know you're cleaning out a $100,000 race car and you can't see. It's dark in here. Now turn some light on. So it's all I ever do. Turn on the light. Turn on the light. Turn on the light. He works in the dark. Although he has bad eyesight too, and it's that much worse because in the dark. The next thing that happens is I've set up these lights that we use to film around here. They're on kind of a tripod, and they have these barn doors on them. They're kind of louvers on them. You can open it up and swing shut. And what ends up happening is Gary works, and the top one swings shut, so it cuts off a third of the light source, and he just works that way all the time. And then I come up and pull it up, tighten up the screw, and just say, open the barn doors. I know you have the light on, but open the barn doors. I walk in today. We got the porcelain Punisher planted on the sofa. We got another dude named Matt who helps us out around here. Gary Halftard?
I rolled in right after this.
Oh, Chris Maxipata. They're all just reading the back of their eyelids on my sofa over there. I come walking in. Gary's about 12, 13 feet away from them. I look at them. I say hi. I look over at Gary. I want to make sure the light's on. He's working on my race car. And I see a sight that I don't think I could have designed. I don't think I could have dreamt this up. And I think if it was in a movie, people would cry foul and check out. He did have the light on. He had the big tripod light on. Oh, yes, it was on. But, well, let's see a picture of that, Chris Maxipata. all 4 of the gates were completely closed. All 4 completely shut. Now, I don't know how that works because I've never shut all of them before. I'm hoping they were being transported and somebody shut them.
It looks like the top of a box, a cardboard box, that's been all 4 flaps are closed.
And somebody.
But the light is blindingly on, obviously.
Well,
but not casting any illumination, most likely.
No, so now we have the worst of all worlds.
Just a waste of electricity and money.
He puts the kill in kilowatt. He says, I will kill a watt. Kilowatt. So now you're burning kilowatts. You're producing a little bit of heat and 0 light. And all 4. Now, I understand the top one sometimes works its way down just by gravity.
No, this looks deliberate.
This is deliberate?
One might guess that he prefers working in the dark.
He's working on a race car with 7,000 little itty-bitty microscopic parts that are under the hood, and he's trying to clean those parts. And I don't know what you 3 flounders are doing on the sofa watching this retarded ballet go on, but yeah, I think we may have another picture as well. But this is stunning, is it not?
I'm watching them one by one consider getting on the mic and then think better of it and walk away.
This is stunning. I mean, this is stunning. You can't.
Yeah.
Can you write this?
No, and also let's point out his hat couldn't be lower on his forehead to block anything coming in.
He's using his body to shield whatever little light is escaping. It is all 4 doors, the right, the left, and the upper and the lower, all completely shut on what is a like 2 foot by 18-inch lighting rig.
Oh, at this point, it's a very expensive, very inefficient heater. Like space heater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say something to him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I said something to him. I said, after all the conversations we have about light, I don't even, first off, how do these get closed? Did you close them all?
Please tell me how had you on a technicality. Lights on, boss.
He did turn it on. He turned it on, but when nothing came forward. Now, to make things even worse, the reason it's lit up in front of him is because there is an example of one that is 10 feet over, sort of out of range, but full legs akimbo and full light shining down this way. So there's an example of one that's working, which kind of makes it worse. And then there's the one behind him with all the barn doors completely closed. All right. I don't know. Now, why don't you guys notice this? That's the question. Yes? Mock Zapata?
I walked in right before you. That's
okay, so everyone just showed up. Okay. How long did it take me to notice it?
Half second.
Okay.
Maybe faster.
You sensed it in the parking lot. Spidey sensed it.
What we need is just pictures of me, not of Gary. We need pictures of me looking at Gary, then looking up at the light, and then noticing all of the doors are shut on the thing. Now, again, you can say Gary's out of it, but at 2:58.5, gone, baby, gone. All right.
So wait, what did he say when you said something to him, though?
It's never satisfying. It's never satisfying. He said,
might be amusing to us.
He said there's been no, he never says anything. It's never oh, okay, is that what you want?
Oh.
It's never anything
How
good.
Frustrating.
I think we have another picture of him. No, we didn't. He didn't like I think he was pissed that I actually said we need to photograph you with it. No. Yeah. But anyway, good stuff. You can go to amcroll.com and take a look at that. Alison Rosen. Now, remember I was talking about giraffes?
Yes. You were talking about someone being the game warden.
Again.
Right? And
it's mostly all giraffe talk.
Giraffe talk.
Yeah, and giraffes walking into power lines.
Mm-hmm.
And what you were talking about was your frustration with people who come up with the exceptions. If you say, like, this is a problem, and they're like, yeah, but here's this thing and this thing.
Which we never do in the animal world. Like, in the animal world, we go, look, polar bears are on the decline, and let's try to figure out why, or whales are on the decline.
And it's not like one person's like, yeah, but I know one polar bear that is thriving.
I know a super successful polar bear. He lives in Hancock Park. Yeah. He has a fucking huge... He's right across from Don Johnson's place. He drives a Bentley drop top. Yeah, but a lot of polar bears are perishing. Not this one. His name is Stu. He makes a hell of a dry martini.
It's on the Forbes most powerful animals list.
Yeah, but the polar bear population is endangered. I don't know. Tell that to Stu. Mm-hmm. He's a super happy polar bear. As a matter of fact, you know, how he made all his money?
How?
He is he modeled for the Klondike Bar campaign.
Wow.
That's him. I mean, when he was younger. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
He was the model they used for the Klondike Bar wrapper.
He's the polar bear of like the Coppertone babies.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
who he
he's
is.
he's known as the polar bear of Coppertone.
But that's just Stu. Not all polar bears have those kind of model good looks.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What are we talking about?
But did you want to talk about finish the giraffes talk? Well, all this. Okay. Well, so anyway, yeah, you were talking about to bring up just the exception is as if someone says there's a problem of giraffes walking into power lines, and someone would say, well, what about this short giraffe who walks under? So anyway, I'm guessing that someone tweeted you a story. Is this how you found this?
Yeah, I basically said, hey, politicians, let's not talk about, if we got a problem with giraffes being electrocuted, let's focus on that problem and don't worry about the two that limbo under it. I'd never used that example before.
Right. Yeah, no, it seemed like just a metaphor, but here's the headline. Giraffe. Right. Did you say wait?
No, go ahead, sorry.
Giraffe electrocuted by power cables at South African Game Reserve.
Right.
And it's an article about giraffes who have been walking into power lines.
Now, they're going to do something about it because it's a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't even mention the few who were either two miniature giraffes or those who limboed under.
Right. All right. Now we have a little presentation. I was trying to make out this sort of cryptic thing on. We're going to do what can Adam complain about, Mike? Right. It says before complain, bring in Chris Dow. I know it makes sense now, but I didn't know it. I don't know it. And the fact that Chris has a last name that's something I dry my face with is confused things quite a bit. Chris, you've been working as a prop maker at JKL for Jimmy Kimmel Live since. Let's get him on the mic, Mike. There, Mike. There you go. Let's get him lean into that thing there, Chris, if you will. You've been making props over at JKL for about 5 years now.
Right.
Yeah, lean into the mic there, Chris.
Okay.
And now, what do you do besides make the props? I mean, you do all the custom stuff, fabrication
Sculpting
stuff.
effects, yes.
Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
England, Yorkshire.
And you're a big fan of mine?
Absolutely.
Why do you love me so much?
Because
Let me start.
Well, you go first.
Obviously, the matinee idol good looks are the first things that jump out at you.
That's
but
right.
let's go deeper than that, Chris. Because English people are so much smarter than everyone else.
I think so.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked on The Man Show.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on Crank Yankers.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to the writers and Jimmy.
What was your favorite thing you built over at the Man Show? Belly Zamboni?
Radio control dildo.
Yeah. High art.
Yeah.
We got so screwed on the Peabody that year. This close, but those John Stewart guys. They're mobbed up, man, with the Peabody guys. They're radio-controlled dildo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Self-wetting T-shirt.
The what?
Self-wetting T-shirt.
For a wet T-shirt contest.
Yeah.
I forgot about all these things. That's not bad. What else you work on over there?
So much. I can't remember. It's so long ago.
Yeah. So you worked over at the Man Show.
Uh-huh.
And then you worked over at Crank Yankers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you do some of the puppets over there?
No, just the props.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when JKL, when Jimmy Kimmel Live went off to make his ill-fated move into late-night TV.
Hope he learned his lesson.
So says Entertainment Weekly, who's got their finger on the pulse of everything. Before he went over to take over the world, he said, I can't do it without Chris Washcloth.
That's right.
Towel. And he brought you with him because
Yeah.
he's smart. And you've been over there since 2008. And you made a sculpture of me.
Right.
But let's get back to me. Why me?
You're a great character to do.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous face. You see?
Mm-hmm. It's so flattering.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And he even put the scar that's kind of in my eyebrow. He moved it over a little bit, but he put my eyebrow scar in there. And besides the physical, let's talk about the inner me.
Right.
What do you love about me, Chris?
I think you have a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm walking on cloud 7, maybe 6.5 at this point. All right, Chris. I thank you so much. Yeah, Jimmy shot me a picture of it. He put it up on his desk, and he shot me a picture of it the other day, and I was tickled pink. Absolutely tickled pink. Now, where's the Pez come out of? My groin?
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
All right.
What's it made out of?
It's 5 glass.
What was the occasion for making this? What was the reason for making it?
I do lots of caricatures for the show, and I talked to the writers, and we thought it would be a nice thing to do. So,
wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. It's going to be great when I bring it home and both my twins go, all righty then. Anyway, well, Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hang out, help yourself to some Mangria.
Right.
And, get loaded and park yourself on the sofa.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Michael clear you out there. All righty. So now, what can Adam complain about? How we're going to do this one, Mike?
Videos are going to go up on the screen.
Oh, we're going to throw it up on the screen. Oh,
Intro first, of course.
Intro first.
Yeah.
Stuff. The world is full of it. And one man can complain about it all. This is What Can't Adam Complain About?
All right, we'll toss it on. Oh, we're doing the video. That's right. All right, sorry, I had a busy day. The video, What Can't Adam Complain About? Who is this, by the way? Do we have these people's names anywhere? All right.
Probably say the name, I imagine.
That's true. Go ahead and hit start.
Adam, this is Ross from California.
See?
You can't complain about tax rebates.
I could if I ever got a tax rebate.
You must have had a sweet spot in your life where you got a tax rebate or two.
No, but I had a very spotty relationship with the IRS. I had a lot of years where I didn't pay anything.
Like you have to file in order to get one?
You have to file in order to get one, and I didn't file, and then I ended up owing them $4,500, and then I worked out a payment program with them. And by the way, asking me how can I complain about a tax rebate is like saying you can't complain about being blown by a unicorn, can you? Well, no, but it's just never happened, and it's never going to happen. So what happened is I owed him money, a bunch of money. Like I said, comically, Dr. Drew, who, even though we've sort of arrived in the same place, started off on opposite ends of the pyramids, said to me when I was saying, look, I was 30, I owed the IRS like $4,400, and he just looked at me with a great white naivete and said, the kind of thing you could only do if you went to Amherst, your mascot was Lord Jeff, and your dad was a physician. He just looked at me and went, well, why didn't you pay it? He said, I didn't have $4,400 when I was 30 years of age. And he's like, but just pay it. I'm like, I didn't have $400, not $4,400. And it was a great little moment where he could not perceive a man being 30. He was a physician when he was 30.
Like, just cash in some stocks.
Yeah. Let some of those muni bonds roll over.
And the CD like early if you have to.
Right. So I said, so that was funny. But I owed the IRS like $4,400. I did my payment program with them, which was like $29 a month for the rest of your life because all you pay is tax and penalty. And at some point, I caught a break. A friend of mine was working for a show called Animaniacs for Warner Brothers, and he got me a job writing an episode of Animaniacs in like 1992, and it paid like $1,800, and I couldn't believe I was getting paid real money to write. And now I had I couldn't type or spell, so I'd have my friend Robbie do it all. And I said about 7,000 man hours into this, 19-page script, but I still got paid to turn it. And and this is a little lesson in life for everybody, when it came time to get my check, they said, ooh, IRS put a lien on it. And I said, IRS put a lien on it? Well, you owe the IRS money. I said, well, yeah, but I got a payment program worked out with them, and I've been doing it for like 2 years now. And they said, oh, all right, well, call the IRS and talk to them, and then they'll talk to us, and then we'll release the check. And I said, okay. And I called the IRS, or I talked to somebody, and I said, hey, we got a payment program worked out, so you shouldn't be putting a lien on this money. And they said, our bad. Yeah. And they said, we'll release it. And they said, okay, they shouldn't have done it. They said, we shouldn't have done it, and we made a mistake. And I said, okay, good. And so they made a mistake, and Warner Brothers released the check, and I got my $1,800. And then about 5 years later, I was buying my first house, and I was sitting in the bank, and the guy was typing up, doing and he did the, ooh, what's this? You had a lien put on you from the IRS? And I was like, That's for $1,800, and that was a lien on the IRS really does hurt the credit. And it's the moral of the story is this. No one ever goes back and fixes shit that they've already done because it doesn't mean shit to them because it's not their credit report that they give a fuck about. So they'll fuck up, then release the money, but they're not going to take the extra step to remove whatever.
To hit delete.
By the way, that doesn't go away by me telling friendly banker guy, oh, it was all just a big misunderstanding. And then he goes, well, let's just make that little zit on your credit score disappear. No, it's there. It was 3 years later, I was getting another loan. It's like, oh boy, what do we got here? I'm like, really?
Is it still there?
I think after, I don't know, nine years or something like that, it'll roll off like a DUI or something like that. But 9 years of that shit, and every fucking time I went somewhere to buy something, I was like, because it just says IRS lien. It doesn't say for $1,800, and we released it because we made a goddamn mistake. Thank you. Here we go.
Hey, Adam. This is Curtis from Michigan, and I thought of something that you cannot complain about. You cannot complain about Pixar animated movies.
Oh,
you just can't do it, man.
Oh, yes, I can.
Hey, look, he has an Angria in the back.
He's holding up some Angria.
He just cheers you.
He's a hero. Yes, I've been to Pixar. I've been on a tour of Pixar. I went down to the writer's room of Pixar. I think some of the most creative story writing there is, and I say everyone who writes live action stuff should watch the Pixar stuff for the story and see how it all comes around and gets put back together at the end and everything else. I went down the writer's room and I said, boy, I am in love with your work. And I have done a lot. You know, somebody reminded me that they worked on, I was Buzz Lightyear's commander. I was Commander Nebula, on the TV show. On the syndicated show. I've now looking back on it between Crank Yankers and all, being Spanky Ham and all that kind of stuff. And Death, by the way, which I'm doing on Thursday. I've done a lot of VO work, so it's not like, the guy doesn't do VO work. And then I went to the beautiful writers area over there at Pixar, where they'll have their rooms all decorated with themes like speakeasies and Jungle Cruise bar lounges and tiki lounges and stuff like that.
Madonna Inn.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's like Madonna Inn for smart people. And every single writer came out and went, hey, man, we're huge fans, and we want you in Car. Now, by the way, there's no bigger car maniac than me. Paul Newman starred in the first Cars. I own 5 of his fucking cars. Could you throw me a goddamn bone and give me a little VO work in one of these goddamn things? I couldn't play the part of a disgruntled El Camino or something, maybe even a minivan, something.
You played a taxi in Wizards of Waverly Place. You have experience as a car.
So I got my local Emmy. So I've done tons of VO work. I'm insane for cars. And everybody over at Pixar, at least on the writer side, is a huge Adam Carolla fan. And there's 75 characters in these things. Not so much as a goddamn syllable tossed toward the ace man. All right, last one. Here we go.
I don't think Adam can complain about the guys that clean up the graffiti along the freeway. That's what I do.
I'm surprised we didn't see a chick just dive onto his cock with her open mouth before he finished that.
We cut that out.
Maybe he was
we cut that out.
Or she could have been below the frame.
Because normally when you just say out loud, I'm the guy who cleans up graffiti on the side of the freeway, it's like chicks. They hear it like those old dog food commercial, and they just come running.
Like a shark with a drop of blood.
They can smell it from 6 miles out.
I'm having trouble sitting in this chair right now. I want to just fly towards the screen.
Slide off.
Yes, I can complain that.
Just got that.
Towel,
please.
I pay this guy, and I don't know what this. I don't know what the debt is, but these guys work for the city. They work for city maintenance, Caltrans, whatever group they're in. Anytime you put on an orange vest, you're getting paid at least $28 an hour. And then you're in a nice big fat union, and you got lots of dentists. You got your hospital and your dentistry and all that stuff taken care of. I mean, you got a good pension plan and everything. It's a pretty good gig working for the city. Think about the number of people. Like, you look at it this way. how many people do we have working for the city? We're like, okay, we have firemen working for the city, and that's good because sometimes fires break out or people have heart attacks, and guys that are EMTs and all that, that's good working for the city. And the guys that fix the roads, that's good working for the city. And the school teachers, but good working for the city. But then we have to employ an army of cops and guys who remove graffiti and probation officers and folks who work in prisons. I mean, I'll bet you the Army, we have a small battalion of people that we employ to do good, and then we have an army of people we employ because we have assholes.
To clean up after the assholes.
They have to clean up after them. They have to incarcerate them. They have to tell them it's your 5th DUI. Now you have to put this ankle bracelet on. I'm your public defender. I was assigned to you, paid for by Adam Carolla. My whole thing
say
is,
who personally paid for that.
My thing is, instead of me parceling my tax dollars out to everything, I just want one Predator drone with my fucking name on it. It would be much nicer for me to go, all right,
yeah,
all my money's going into one place. But the point is we have a city now that has a handful of people that are doing good for the city. They're answering 911 telephones, and they're helping your kid with a learning disability, and then an ever-growing army of people to deal with assholes who get paid just as much and oftentimes more than the other people. Now, we could enlarge that army, or we could start trying to do away with the assholes that are destroying our society.
How would we do away with them?
First thing we would do is judge. For instance, if you see somebody tagging something, do not approach them. That's what they tell you to do with that. But there's signs all over the freeway that says report drunk driving. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Drive hammered. Get nailed, right? I mean, it's all just report this, do that, do this. 55 saves lives, click it or ticket. It's a 55 zone. We're in a slow zone. We're in a cone zone. Is there anything that says anything about graffiti? Is there ever a graffiti hotline? Is there ever, you're driving along the freeway, the Southern California freeways are covered with barbed wire because of graffiti. They're also covered with graffiti. So we got the barbed wire and we have the fucking graffiti. It's really insane. It's like saying, we got a snake problem in the house, so we're going to get a mongoose in here to get rid of the snakes. And now we have more snakes and more mongooses, or mongai, or mongooses.
All of them.
All of them in one house.
Mongoose.
At least get rid of the fucking snakes. So we got the barbed wire, and we have the graffiti, and there it is, and there it remains, and there it shall be. Now, is there any awareness program? Is there any, since the lion's share of it is taking place on the freeways, where we are in our cars with our cell phones and our eyeballs, why don't those freeway signs say, report graffiti?
Yeah, like on cars, you see bumper stickers that say, how's my driving?
Right.
Sometimes they say 1-800-EAT-SHIT, but sometimes there's a real number, and it could say, how's my graffiti?
Right. So ours say 55 saves lives or click it or ticket, totally moot. We have a graffiti problem, says nothing about graffiti. And we can look forward to a nice more 4 years of this. Also, the reality is it becomes some sort of cultural thing, and then it becomes an ethnic thing, and no one's going to touch that thing because if a certain group does it more than another group, then you can't come down on that group. And I want to come down on the group that does graffiti. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, the artists?
If they all look like Conan O'Brien. There was a commercial that basically... There was this great commercial, we can't find it, but it showed people doing graffiti and then like showed that the nobility of it somehow. Or that you could get if you could do this, you can get a high school diploma or whatever it is. But I'm curious. I swear to God, we spend more money on the people that are either trying to protect us from assholes or undo the work of assholes than we do for the people that are teaching our kids, protecting us from fire and filling the potholes. And imagine how many fucking schools we could build if we just took this massive group of assholes and somehow got rid of them. And here's how you somehow can get rid of them. I'd like to throw them in a fucking volcano. Personally, I would like to get my pterodactyl, Terry. It's been a while. And pick them up and drop them into a fucking fiery volcano. But we cannot do that. But I'll tell you what we can do. We can stop the next generation of assholes. But that's going to take a dialogue, and that's going to take a little bit of finger pointing with a sprinkling of judging, and I don't think you're going to find that here.
I prefer the pterodactyl plan.
Me too.
Sounds like a campaign slogan to me. Stop the next generation of assholes.
Oh, could easily be done.
You know, Gavin Newsom suggested it, and we should, Mike August, if you're listening, which I know you're not, we should have a runoff debate here. That would be a landmark moment for podcasts. That'd be awesome, because there's runoff candidates now.
Yeah, but no one's coming here.
That'd be awesome.
Not after Gavin Newsom got drowned out in the deep water. All right, we'll take ourselves a little break. Robert Davi for president. He'll be in along with the great David Wild. We'll do that next. Robert Davi here as, well, oh, there he is.
Day out.
I think it's Sinatra.
That same old voodoo follows me about.
I've seen Robert perform up close and personal. He does not disappoint. There's one thing about, a lot of music is there's kind of a drop-off. Like, you hear Third Eye Blind and then you see him play. It's a little bit of a drop-off there, but not the big band stuff, not Robert Davi.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, Adam.
And David Wild.
Good to see you, and I have to tell you, I'm a total Sinatra snob. I wrote the liner notes for duets. I'm a lifelong fan. This guy is great. Really amazes me, because very few people can sing this stuff and make it their own, and he does.
Where are you coming from, brother?
I'm coming from home, but I realized it was freezing out, so I put a jacket on, which makes it respectable for this video. What the hell this is? Video bar mitzvah. I think it's called.
Okay. You just look it's a little dressed up. You used to see the ball cap and the blue jeans. By the way, Robert Davi is going to be at the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. Oh, I've been there. It's a good place.
Great place.
Beautiful venue. March 23rd, and also Ridgefield Playhouse, Connecticut. That's coming up March 29th.
And we just got Bobby Slayton is going to be opening on March 23rd.
The Pitbull of comedy.
The Yiddish, what do they call him? The Yiddish, there's another thing that he has.
I just know
I think they call him a Jew.
Pitbull.
That's what they call him.
No, he's the Pitbull of comedy.
The Pitbull of comedy.
Robert is, by the way, he's one of these, I think, and I hope you take this in the spirit in which it's intended, because it's interesting, but there's the actors where you go, what's that guy's name? And then if you saw the picture, you'd go, oh, that guy.
That's right.
Guy. Oh, I've seen that guy in a million movies, and you're definitely that guy. I know your name because I know your music.
You know me, yes.
And I know you, but most people would go, oh, that guy, which means you work a ton.
I work a ton, and I'm that guy. And I think that's because I've played a variety of different roles, even though you would think I played one type. But I've mixed it up with, accents and facial hair. And
Die Hard, Action Jackson, Goonies, of course, Showgirls.
It was good fun doing research with that film.
Imagine.
When you're on the set for 18 hours, usually it's boring.
Right.
But here it's with tits and ass and girls walking around in G-strings.
Normally your research involves a ride-along with some crash unit through South Central. This is hanging out in a strip club.
Right.
Yeah.
Motorhome was fun.
Robert Davi, again, is singing Sinatra songs. And I think I asked this before. Obviously, this is a passion of yours. This is a love of yours. Mm-hmm. How do you make money doing this? I know you do live shows. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, when you get this orchestra together, and it is big and it's expensive, and you guys aren't using a lot of synthesizers and things like that. No. How do you make a buck?
Well, I have various size bands based on the venue. Mm-hmm. At the Venetian, we had a 25-piece venue because it let us have that. At Thousand Oaks, that was an 1,800-seat house. I went with a 55-piece band. Mm-hmm. At Redondo Beach, I'll have 15. Mm-hmm. In Ridgefield, Connecticut, we'll have a sextet, because it's also the anniversary of a sextet that Sinatra did around the world 50 years ago. And there's one guy alive from that tour, Emil Richards, who's been playing behind me for the last 2.5 years. Amazing guy. And Randy Waldman, who's Barbra Streisand's musical director, is my musical director. And Rich Ruttenberg is going to do the March 23rd thing. But what you do is you kind of like tell the guys, hey, here's the shkarol. Mm-hmm. And you want to come along? We just did Milwaukee. We sold out there.
And so some of the guys you're bringing with you and some of the guys you're meeting there, but they're all good enough and they've done it enough and they know all the standards.
Top players, yeah. And well, these are I don't use Sinatra's charts. I thought that would be too much of a karaoke singer. A lot of guys do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of does a disservice because if you want to listen, I mean, they're marvelous charts, the Nelson Riddle charts and Gordon Jenkins. And what I did on all of our original things that Randy Waldman had done and Nick Tenbrook did most of them for the album, all of them for the album, was to pay a tribute, homage to that, but have my own spin on that.
Again, you can see him playing around the country, and what you can do is go to Davi, that's D-A-V-I, singsinatra.com, and you can find out where he's going to be. All right, let's see. We have some news. We got some other stuff to talk about. We also have some relationship calls I think we'll take. You got anything up there, Alison Rosen? You seen something up there you like? I mean, here you are. You're engaged. Still engaged, right?
Still engaged.
What do you do for the ring? You go for the blood diamond?
I hope.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I would like
Right.
to know who was hurt
Mhm.
by the diamond. You know what? Actually, this woman at a jewelry store was saying, and I'd like to know people's opinion of this, because of course she would say this, but she was said that the blood diamonds, those true blood diamonds, never hit the marketplace. Those were used by warlords or like some shady guy who's like, hey, you want to buy a diamond? But the diamonds that are actually out.
He opens his coat.
Yeah, like that
David
kind of
Wild.
guy. Or like the guy on Sesame Street who would sell you an O, if anyone knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
But the actual blood diamonds aren't out there.
Right. But one could argue that if you didn't buy you buying these diamonds enables those diamonds to, it's never good, right? It's,
I'm sure. No, I mean, I'm sure it's just like when you buy an iPad, someone was fucked by that.
right.
It's like,
Look
but
at
I
this
d-
as worse, though, because an iPad does something
That's true.
other
yeah.
than fall
so
down
anyway,
a drain.
So we are actually in the process of shopping for the ring. I'm the kind of unromantic person who wanted to be involved in the process.
Oh, righty. Alison Rosen?
Mhm.
How about a little news,
Okay.
baby girl?
The news with Alison Rosen.
She'll read some news from her iPad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's Alison, Alison. And when it's time to wrap it up, she'll sign it off with zip it cunt. It's Alison, Alison.
It really should be Mrs. Cunt from now on. Really,
It's gonna be,
I think
yeah.
It should change.
Thank you.
A little respect.
You know, now that I am thinking about rings, I'm wondering how everyone else's ring story. Adam, how did you choose Lynette's ring? Or did you guys choose together?
We found like an antique ring because, diamonds are forever. And then at a certain point, she had the diamond changed out. Said it was worn out. What? A new diamond put in. There is a very...
You want that new diamond smell.
There's a serious problem, which is if here's a very potent combination. If you have the person who's not paying for something consulting the expert who wants money about what they need to do, there's going to be a big issue, whether it's the vet with the dog or the jeweler with the diamond. If the person that makes the money is not standing there getting in between the two, we could have a problem. That's what happens oftentimes, yes.
Well,
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Hugo Chavez died of Venezuela.
Can you break it to us a little more gently
I'm
than
sorry.
that?
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss that son of a guy.
He was
I love
58.
Victor Hugo.
Yeah,
Great writer.
awesome. Yeah,
Dennis Rodman and I are flying over for the funeral together tomorrow.
Who is Sean Penn gonna play beach volleyball with?
No, I wonder if he's tweeted
Supposedly,
about it yet.
he has. He said that we've lost a great hero. We mourn. He mourns a great hero.
A lot of people have been tweeting things like that,
That's what,
which is surprising.
That's what I heard from Drudge Report.
Well,
Yeah.
he battled. He was battling cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know what kind.
Good.
He'd been
They
sick
said
for
it
a
was the
while.
United States cancer.
Good.
They're saying, the Venezuelans are saying that the United States injected him with a cancerous substance like they did Jack Ruby.
Oh, hey, I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Is that worse or erectile dysfunction?
Well,
we should answer that for Trixie.
Either way, Ed Asner already tweeted that a Jew took him out.
No.
There were no Jews in him when he died. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that he didn't do a lot of wonderful things for the country, which is an understatement, and yet he was really popular.
Yeah, well, when you have super undereducated poor people, and by the way, it's easy to be popular when you get put in a gulag if you speak up. I mean, when you get rounded up and put somewhere, if you ever raise your hand and go, what the fuck, then you do get pretty popular.
And instantly. Here's a very interesting thing, though. He's a socialist, the king socialist, okay? he died with probably 5 or 6 times more money than Romney has.
Yeah. Oh,
this
yeah,
is the
but a hero.
socialist. The
He's a
socialist hero.
Well, these guys are.
All the socialist leaders
One of the greatest
are like that.
things ever caught on videotape is Saddam Hussein sort of taking power and coming over like the new parliament, and there's like 800 people in the audience, and he's just standing up there, and he's kind of looking. He's basically doing a thing where it's like, you're going to hang tomorrow, and then you're going to hang. So people just start standing up and yelling, all praise Saddam Hussein, all praise. And then everyone starts doing it like as fast as they can and bowing as fast as they can, because he's basically pointing at people and having them removed. And when you're removed, you don't go to get Mo. You go to get Mo nooses for your head. Yeah. That's why they call me Ace.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, Ace man. All right. Anyway, Hugo Chavez is dead, and Spicoli's not happy about it, but the rest of the world is. Thank you.
The TSA is going to allow small knives and golf clubs and small bats on planes starting April 25th. I don't even know that I was aware that small knives weren't allowed.
Oh yeah, you can't bring anything like that.
Like a Swiss Army knife, right?
Well, there's a couple of things that I find. There's 2 things. One, you'll love to know about Mike August, who books all my live shows and is exquisitely out of it. Traveled since 9/11. And by the way, didn't go to an airport without a box cutter. He had a box cutter in his toiletry bag.
Why?
He seemed to be like, I use it sometimes when I'm on the road, or
just some terrorism on the side.
Somebody gave it to me, but he literally traveled with a box cutter. I don't know why you would need to travel. It's never like, I can't get in my room at the Ramada. I got a box cutter. It's never.
That's what I'm saying. How often does it come up that you're trying to open a giant box?
Stupid TV remote's not where. I got my box cutter.
Good thing
Was this before or after 9/11?
After 9/11.
Well, maybe there was some kind of
symbolism.
He was
no, that'd
testing.
be too smart.
He wasn't testing.
How do I get into the shower? How do I get through this curtain? Ooh, trusty box cutter. So he traveled with a box cutter. Here's what makes Mike out of it, on top of out of it, triple out of it. He traveled with a box cutter. I know not why. It was also one of those segmented ones where you use the razor blade on the end of it for a while, and then you snap it off so you have another sharpened one. Someone will show a picture of one so you know what I'm talking about, meaning razors get dull pretty fast because they're a very fine edge. And after a couple of cuts, just, like your razor that you use on your face, you use it for 3 or 4 or 5 shaves, and then you got to get a new cartridge in there. They do these ones that are segmented. You use it for a while, and then you pop it off, and you have a fresh edge, and you can do it times 8 or 15 or however long the thing is. Mike had been using the same dull edge for the last 3 years, been traveling with it.
Did he even know that it was segmented?
He had no idea that you pop the segmented end off. But he traveled with a box cutter. And the other thing, after traveling the country with Mike August, he had no idea when I was talking to him. We were somewhere around airport 158. I said, I could get one of those Ziploc bag things for my toiletries. And he said, what for? I said, the Ziploc bag. For toiletry, you need the zip. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, Mike, every airport we've been through, someone has had their shit in a Ziploc bag, and they've been talking about it, and there's signs that say it. And he's like,
some
first
airports
I've heard of
have
it.
Ziplocs.
Yes, some would give
Like,
them out
boxes.
to you. All news to him.
Did he hear about 9/11 yet?
I had no idea.
He's going to be upset when he finds out.
I told him about 9/11. He said he was looking at the Porsches, but he also looking at BMWs. Thank you.
So TSA will allow retractable knives with blades shorter than 2.4 inches and narrower than 0.5
Do we
inches.
need to travel with miniature bats? Like, hey, listen, I'm going to a seal beating convention, and I just don't want to check this stuff.
What is a miniature bat? Like the giveaway ones
Well, no,
at baseball games?
okay. Let's see where the certain bats and sporting sticks. I'm trying to find the.
Shillelaghs.
Oh yeah, bats will have to be less than 24 ounces in weight and 24 inches in length in order to make it on board.
Either way, it's first off, last week we left Burbank. There was no mention of taking your toiletries out and doing the Ziploc thing. When we flew back from Denver, was all that they were about is take those toiletries out and put them in the Ziploc, which I never do, and then they never say anything about it. It doesn't instill a lot of confidence in the flying public when, A, on the way out, the airport had a different protocol on the same airline going to the same place, and then on the way out, you have a protocol that you announce, except for I don't do it, and that's perfectly fine with you.
You can also carry on lacrosse sticks, billiard and hockey sticks,
Well-
ski poles, and up to 2 golf clubs. Did you know that you couldn't fly with golf clubs?
Well, James Baby Doll Dixon has worked his way around this little conundrum.
What does he do?
He's got a set of golf clubs in every state.
Oh.
It's sort of like Ricky Nelson and Traveling Man.
Oh, yeah, like that.
You just replace the women with golf clubs, and that's what Baby Doll.
Like any port in a storm.
Yeah,
for
we'll
his
find
club.
that song. You'll know what I'm saying.
That's usually what happens to Republicans. They replace the women with golf clubs.
Instead of packing your bitch, you have one in every port.
Smart.
Yeah. I would guess that the throwing star's never not worked in a movie.
Yeah, but in real life, what's the?
I think it has a much lower batting average in real life.
I don't think I've ever even seen one.
The throwing stars?
Yeah.
You never do.
Those are those.
Yeah, in the movies.
I mean, in real life,
Bruce
though.
Lee films.
And they work every time. It
gets the guy right in the eye and
It's
the head.
the lowest percentage throw there is. The knife thrower, the throwing star. It takes the guard. And by the way, you have to take the guard out silently.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you what I would sound like if I got hit with a throwing star. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, my fucking shoulder. Oh, goddamn, am I pissed? Who the fuck did this? Where's my fucking alarm? I'm going to Oh! That's what it would sound like. It would not be, and I'd hit the ground. There'd be a lot of pissing and moaning. Mostly pissing and moaning.
There's a lot of pissing and moaning without the star.
The fuck kind of animal would do this to somebody? Oh! Steve, come here!
I'm a rental cop.
God damn! Oh! Fucking just had this fucking uniform clean. Just had it pressed. Just got it back from the fucking... God damn it, there's another fucking throwing star hole. I am sounding the alarm so fucking loud on your ass, and I am shooting you when I find you. It would be the exact opposite of what you're trying to attempt with the throwing star.
If I ever had to throw one, I would throw it underhand and I would miss.
I feel like almost all the ninja tactics,
like nunchucks.
Nunchucks be the same. Shit, that hurt. What the fuck? This sucks. What? Oh, my elbow. Then they do the glass fragment thing where they throw the crushed glass in your eyes. That'd be more belly.
Right.
Ah, my eyes. Come on. There'd be a lot of noise.
There should be a film
silent.
that does that. That would be hysterical.
Just one time.
Real reactions.
Sneak up on the guy, throw the knife or the throwing star, and have it like stick into his fleshy part of his upper arm and have him just start screaming.
Speaking of martial arts, have you ever done the karate chop thing onto a piece of wood? And do you think if you did that it would actually break?
Well, coming from a guy who worked with wood for a living, I can tell you that there's a karate chopping wood, which is dried up knotty pine, which has basically the tensile strength of matzah. But you don't see them trying it with plywood, oriented strand board, or hardwoods such as oak and woods like that. You karate chop a piece of oak, it'll break your hand. You karate chop a piece of dried out knotty pine, your hand will go right through it. So it's always brittle stuff. As a matter of fact, if you ever want to know what's good in an earthquake and what's not good in an earthquake, just watch one of these late-night karate tournaments on ESPN3. They're breaking cinder blocks and they're breaking knotty pine, but they'll never break plywood. No one karate chops stucco. Nobody karate chops shear wall or 2x4s or anything that's made up like oriented strand board or something like that, or glue lamb beam or paralam. Maybe I've said too much.
You know all these terms.
Used to be my life. It was my life, Robert.
You were
like Sinatra.
He loves wood.
You have a passion for Sinatra.
My grandfather was worked in a lumber yard. Wood was his passion. My father's father.
That's we and him would be simpatico.
Here's my segue. On my Facebook today, my Uncle John, whose wife, Anne Marie Riccoboni, who was really Davi, that was her maiden name.
Right, she was a Davi.
She was a Davi, but her mother was Carolla. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So he, in big letters, because we posted that I was going to be on the show, he says, asks Adam Carolla. He says he's related to your grandmother, Grandma Marie. I says, we've talked about that briefly before.
We got 1,000. We got some Maries in somewhere in Philly.
No, you Sicilian.
We have a Carolla. Yeah, my
You're Sicilian. So
yeah, I've said it before. I don't know how they spell their Carolla.
Caroll, same way, because he put it on the Facebook. LLO or LLA.
Well, now here's another great tell with my family. Sometime about 6 years ago, I said to my mom and my dad, well, I said it this way. I said to my dad, Dad, it's always bothered me. How come I don't have a middle name? And he went, I don't know, which is the worst answer you can give to a son. And then he paused and he said, you should ask your mom. And then a week later, I said to my mom, Mom, how come no middle name? And she said, did you ask your dad? So that was not good. But
he couldn't even do we couldn't afford one. At least it would be a warm,
it was a different time.
Sad joke.
Yes. No joke. He just said, like, I don't know. Why? People have middle names? And I said, they have like 14 middle names. They're obnoxious. And then when my dad's older brother, Ralph, died, I got his flag and I got his Purple Heart and some of the other accommodations he got for fighting in World War II and the island campaigns. And I looked at his name tag, his military name tag, and it said Ralph Carolla. And I said to my dad, that's your brother, he's 3 years older. I said, your brother went by Carolla and you went by Carolla. What was that about? And he gave the super satisfying answer once again. Yeah, I don't know. And I thought, well, you guys are thick as thieves, aren't you? That's a tight-knit group over there, isn't it? You're Carolla. Someone was a Carolla and changed it to Carolla.
My mother's maiden name was Rouleau. Roulie, Roulai. There were 3 different spellings of the same name from relatives and cousins.
Did vowels mean nothing in those days?
The vowel was different. O, A, or I.
You think you and your brother could get on the same, who are about the same age, would get on the same page, or at least you'd have an answer.
So you're related, and my ancestors were your landlords.
That's right.
Why is that?
Rented from you in South Philly.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think so. The Jewish slumlords.
Are you from Philly?
No.
Oh.
Jersey.
Okay.
It's a joke,
Close.
baby.
Near the rustic cabin.
It's a joko.
By the way, he mentioned his Facebook. Quincy Jones raved about his performance recently. That's how good Robert is. That's the ultimate. I mean, that's not a guy. That's a guy
he
who's
came to
seen it
my
all.
show, brought 14 people, and then he posted an amazing, very, very moving thing on his Facebook page.
That is high
From
praise.
Q. Yeah, I mean,
he must have been high. But no, that is nobody knows music like Quincy Jones.
And
that's
plus,
amazing.
he worked with Sinatra. I mean, he was with Sinatra from 59 on and stuff. So it was
unbelievable. When you meet those, you have those little encounters. Like I was going, oh God, do I hate my dad encounter? Like I was going.
Yeah, hello?
I was going to do a show in Atlantic City or something. It was like I was at the LAX. It was like 8 a.m. I was miserable. I was fifth weekend going out on the road, and I ran into a really cool producer friend of mine who I worked doing Top Gear, the TV pilot with, the U.S. Top Gear with, and I ran into him. And he came up and he said hi, and there he had like his 22-year-old son with him. And I said, "What are you guys doing?" And he said, "We're going to Colorado for the whole beer festival thing." And I was like, you're getting on a plane and going to another state with your son to sample beers from around the world just because? And I just thought, fucking A. And then I thought, that is as far away as me and anyone in my family could ever. There's no such thing. It's not even close. But then I just thought, wow, what a great. I want to pull those sons aside. I want to do that with your son. I'll do it with this guy's son. I go, you have no fucking idea what you have for a dad.
Well, can I make you sick with this name drop Frank Sinatra, because this guy is so great. I did the liner notes for Duets, which is one of his last giant record. And I mentioned my dad in there. My dad was a great dad. And I mentioned how he used to listen to My Way over and over again when I was a little kid. I remembered it because that's what he psyched himself up with when he was starting a business. And I mentioned that at the top of the liner notes, and I didn't tell my dad, and I sent it to him, when the record came out, and he literally called me crying, which is the only time in the relationship, and said, and this is a very Jewish reaction. He goes, "You just paid me back for college." Wow. He goes, "I can't believe that. I never thought when I was listening to Sinatra that my son would someday put my son would write on a Sinatra record and mention me." And when he died a couple of years ago, that literally was, and he had Alzheimer's, so it was bad.
Right.
He remembered that and told the nurse that story, like in the hospital as he was dying. And I remember
2,600 times. But yes,
exactly over.
But still, that's awesome.
So it was nice to actually have him. And I had then afterwards, of course, my mother went, "What about me?" So I had to contrive to get her into Neil Diamond liner notes to make her feel okay.
Yeah, no one wants to be shoehorned. Sloppy diamond seconds, as they call it in the business. All right, Alison, let's do one more. What do we got here?
Jon Stewart will be taking an 8-week break to direct a film that he wrote. He's going to take the break starting in June, and he'll return on Labor Day. And John Oliver will host the show while Jon Stewart is gone.
I heard that.
The film is called Rosewater. It was written by Stewart, and it's based on a book by Iranian journalist Mazir Bahari.
I think it was somebody had on the show probably and got the
Mm-hmm.
story, and he's going to direct it. And I didn't know he wrote the script, but I didn't know there was a book he's doing adapted screenplay.
He adapted it, yeah.
What's the subject matter?
Apparently, it's this guy who got in trouble in partly because he went on The Daily Show and got, I think, jailed as a result of that.
Yeah, he
You
was
mean
falsely
Iran? He got jailed in Iran?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, he was falsely accused of being a spy, and he was imprisoned by the Iranian government in 2009 while covering the presidential election.
If I was in Iran and accused of being a spy, I would say, okay, listen, I'm not want to cause any trouble, but what exactly is your batting average on accusing people of being spies? Like, I feel like you accuse almost everyone. I saw you point at a donkey and accuse it of spying earlier in the day. Like, you accuse a lot of people of being spies. How many are actually spies? And let's really just examine this. And by the way, I'm trying to save you time.
Well,
you know what I mean?
they're right next door to Saddam, so that pointing finger thing.
Yes, everybody's a
Everyone's
spy.
a spy.
You both strike me as guys in a different decade. You would have both been spies. Am I right? You're patriotic.
Robert
you
dresses
got-
like one.
Yeah, you have sort of a spy vibe. I have a
spy vibe.
I could be an agent to a spy.
What's a spy vibe?
To a secret
You
agent.
could be the handler?
I could be literally the talent
You know,
agent.
Sinatra actually did a lot of work around the world, and quite a few artists did for the CIA, and they gave messages to. This is during World War II, and afterwards during the Cold War. A lot of entertainers were used to as diplomatic attachés.
Because they wouldn't let other people travel, but Sinatra could go where he wanted.
Where he wanted.
And while he was there,
Yeah, no, that
pick
was
little
he did a lot of.
information.
Not only that, but going into that, he was the first guy that came out against anti-Semitism or racial bigotry.
Oh, yeah, in the house we
That's
live
why
in
the
and
Jews
all
and the Italians. Yeah, I do that in the show.
Oh God, it's great.
But that's why the Jews and the Italians have a big affinity, and any immigrant member has a big affinity towards Sinatra because he gave a dignity to the Italian American, and he also, for the blacks and the Jews, really beyond his Picasso-esque contribution to music.
Did you ever see
two birds
Sinatra?
with one stone with Sammy Davis,
Did you ever
by
get
the
to
way.
see Sinatra live?
Yeah. No, never saw him live. Well, listen, I never saw anything anywhere at any time because my dad didn't do anything.
No,
and
this
I didn't
could
have
have
any,
been a little
no,
later,
but
right
I
at the
didn't,
end.
I didn't have any money.
I had
or
one of your
anything.
dads. I went to one Yankee game, and two things were my family trips: a Yankee game. I went to one Yankee game with my dad, which I remember like yesterday. I was about 8 years old. Maris and Mantle, were playing. And then on a Monday, we were going to the Museum of Natural History because we moved from Astoria, Queens to Long Island, to Deer Park, Dix Hills. So we had to plan this trip to go see the Museum of Natural History. This was planned for weeks and months ahead of time.
Big occasion.
So we drive into Manhattan. We pull up in front of the Museum of Natural History. And lo and behold, it's closed.
Bullet dodge, according to your dad. Close. I went to one preseason Rams game with my dad. Preseason. I'm sure somebody at his work gave him preseason.
Is Bill O'Reilly now the father you never
He's
had?
now the father I never had.
Your dad
That's
did
right.
the whole face painting thing and the jersey.
Oh, yeah. It was back when they had the watermelons on the head.
Oh, yeah.
Sinatra once gave me tickets for the Desert Inn at the end, 1991 or 2, I guess it was.
When did he stop performing?
Around
95 was his last thing. He did The Best Is Yet to Come. Was the
Right.
last time he performed. It's also
when
on his tombstone.
I didn't make a nickel until 95 and a half.
But the
so
thing,
that's the problem.
I'll never forget, it was an amazing show, but they sat me at the front table, sort of table in the center with Spiro Agnew in 1991 or 2.
Wow.
I didn't know there was still a Spiro Agnew.
I didn't know that
And he
either.
introduced him as, ladies and gentlemen, our vice president, Spiro Agnew. And I'm like, I was hoping, I didn't know if Frank knew.
They
that
were
he
friends.
He stayed with
Wait
his
a minute.
friend.
Hold on. He didn't. You sure he didn't say fat Jew?
No.
He could have been pointing at you. No?
He
Okay.
would have called him a mishpucha.
Okay. Bring it home. Let's
Oh,
bring it home,
that's the
Alison
news. I'm
Rosen.
Alison Rosen. Zip it, cunts.
That was the news with Alison Rosen.
I want to thank Robert Davi for coming in here. Davi sings Sinatra. Go to the website, DaviSingsSinatra.com, and find out when he's coming to a theater near you. Also, David Wild. Let's get that tweet humming, baby. Twitter, at wild about music. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Robert Davi, David Wild, Alison Rosen, and Bald Bryan saying mahalo. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, my fucking shoulder. Oh, goddamn, am I pissed? Who the fuck did this? Where's my fucking alarm? I'm going to Oh! Hey, kiddies, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and catch any podcasts you might have missed at youtube.com/Adam Carolla. That's youtube.com/me.